I think for us the critical thing was our results matrix, because it set indicators, using government indicators actually for most of the sectors, but where there weren't government indicators, we took our own indicators. It's a very short results matrix. It tried to capture for each area or each outcome of the strategy 2 or 3 indicators that would give would show the trends in those areas. So we had a lot of discussions internally about what those indicators would be, the choice of them, why this would be a good way to look at trends, for example, in governance or in natural resource management or in human resource capacity like education and health. So that again was a very good process for us to agree on where our priorities were, because we tried to choose indicators that really, really reflected the key priorities and the key trends that we wanted to support. And then by having the results matrix, we then were able, it was natural that in our first year implementation report, then we would look at how we did based on how those indicators had evolved in fact it was over the year of 2014, 2015. And that then led into policy dialogue with government, because in some areas, yes, things had evolved positively, in other areas they hadn't, and that's actually the challenge for us. It's where things are going good and well, yes, we still have to invest in ongoing policy dialogue and invest in our future programs, but it's where things are not going well, where we know that it's a priority, that we really have to think about what are the root causes, why is this happening, we're not in the right policy context, or we're not providing the right support, or what more can we do? So that discussion was really, really interesting. And we had it not only with civil society and the private sector, but we also had it with government and with parliament. So you get a wide range of views about where they see the EU, what should the EU's role be, how are we perceived as adding value to work in different sectors, how are we perceived as bringing in expertise or skills or not. So I think for us that really kept joint programming alive, because by going through that review process, having the discussion with all these different actors, then our next obvious sort of step was, well, we need to review some of our results matrix indicators as well, because there were other things that were important that as the situation has evolved. We wanted to capture climate change and Cambodia's nationally determined contribution. We wanted to capture something more related to gender. It's an emerging priority for the EU. So by building those in, now we've gone through another process of reviewing the results matrix. We know that we'll be doing another report. We realize that we don't have a joint policy brief on higher education. So it starts a dynamic whereby you get lots of other bits of work, which is, joint programming is additional work, but at the same time, it's added value, because when it came to doing the midterm review, for example, I had a huge range of resources on which to draw, because I had member states and colleagues who had worked in all of these sectors, we have a division of labour across sectors, who were able to give me so much information that you really feel that there is a movement. But if we hadn't had a results matrix and we hadn't done the progress review and we hadn't gone through that policy dialogue process, we might still have just a document on the shelf, because you need to give momentum and impetus to a strategy, and that means we need to do work. It's our strategy. We need to take it forward, and constantly reminding the group and working together. Then that is why joint programming is still relevant, because we make it relevant because it's touching our work, and every month we talk about it in our coordination meetings.